I'm Anna, the top woman trader in the world, and I assist inexperienced traders in generating profits. In this video, we'll discuss what market analysis is. See you after the intro. Good morning, traders! Before we dive into this ocean of market analysis knowledge, I have something important to tell you. If you want to see how to put all these great theories we're about to discuss into practice, don't forget to check out my courses. There you can see me how I trade stock indices and commodities. It's like sitting next to me as I try to tame these financial bulls and bears, but without the risk of me stealing your coffee. I hope you're comfortable, because today we have quite a bit to chew on together. I'm about to take you on a journey into the world of market analysis. I know, some of you are already thinking, how boring, but I promise I'll try to make everything as fun and understandable as possible. Are you ready? Then fasten your seatbelts and let's go. First of all, I want to be super clear about one thing. What we are going to talk about today is fundamental for everyone who wants to dive into the world of investments. It's like learning to drive before getting behind the wheel of a Ferrari. You can skip the step, but you risk crashing at the first turn, if you know what I mean. Okay, I admit it. When we talk about technical indicator charts and all that stuff, many of you start to break out in a cold sweat. I can already see you with wide eyes like, what the hell is she saying? Relax. My goal today is to show you how to understand market trends and without the risk having become Einstein. No complicated formulas, I promise. Oh, and before I forget, a small parenthesis, I know many of you are curious to see how I trade on the European indices. Well, I have good news. I've put a link below with all the info to access to my memberships and my courses. There you can see how I operate live, and if you're sitting next to me. It's like a reality show, but instead of seeing people arguing in a house, you see me trading. Much more educational, right? I only use price to operate. I am a simple girl. I like direct things, but it's still super useful to know the main indicators. It's like knowing different languages. Maybe you mainly use one, but understanding the others helps you communicate better with everyone. Okay, enough introductory chatter. Let's get to the heart of the matter. Let's start with the graphical analysis. Think of this method as a way to read the market through images. It's like watching a silent movie. There are no dialogues, but if you want to know what to look for, the story is crystal clear. One of the coolest tools of graphical analysis is candlestick charts. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Candles? Are we talking about the stock market or a romantic dinner? I understand the first time I heard about it, I thought the same thing, but I assure you that these candles are much more useful than the ones you put on the table when you want to impress someone. Imagine each candle as a mini story. It tells what happened in a certain period of time. It could be a day, an hour, or even just a minute. This little story tells us four fundamental things. The opening price, like when you open your eyes in the morning, the high, the highest moment of the day, the low, when everything seems to be going wrong, and the closing price, the last stop before you go to sleep. The shape and color of these candles can tell us a lot about market sentiment. It's like reading someone's facial expressions. If you know what you're to look for, you can understand a lot without the person saying a word. For example, if you see a candle with a long body upwards, it's as if the market was shouting buy, buy, buy. There has been strong buying pressure, like when there is a crazy offer in Amazon and everyone rushes to buy. On the contrary, a candle with a long body downwards is as if the market were saying, help, sell while you can. There has been strong selling pressure, like when word spreads that a certain food is bad for you and everyone wants to run empty their supermarket shelves. And if you want to see a candle with a tiny body and long wicks, well, that's a signal that the market is undecided, like when you don't know whether to order pizza or sushi, or like when you're in the front of the wardrobe in the morning and don't know what to wear. The market is saying, I don't know what to do. Let's move on to moving averages. Don't be scared by the name. It has nothing to do with furniture moving. They're just lines that show the average prices over a certain period. Think of them as a thermometer that measures the market temperature. If the line goes up, the market is heating up. If it goes down, it's cooling down. There are different types of moving averages, but the basic idea is always the same, to help you understand the general direction of the market without driving you crazy with small daily fluctuations. It's like when you look at the weather forecast for the week. You're not interested in knowing if there will be a little cloud at 3:37 p.m. on Wednesday. You want to know if it will generally be hot or cold. And then there are trend lines. These are simply lines that connect the highest and lowest price points over time. If the line goes up, the trend is bullish. It's like when your favorite team is on a positive streak. They win one game, then another, each victory is a higher point than the previous one. If the line goes down, the trend is bearish. It's like when you realize you're gaining weight. Every week the scale shows a slightly higher number, on this case lower for the price. And if the line is flat, well, the market is taking a break. Like you when you lie on the couch after a hearty lunch. It's not going up, it's not going down, it's just existing. Now let's move on to volume analysis. Volume is simply the quantity of a security trader in a certain period. Think of a volume as the thermometer of investor interest. It's like measuring how many people are talking about a certain topic on social media. An increase in volume can mean different things. It could be like when the new iPhone model comes out and everyone rushes to buy it. There is greater interest in that security. Everyone's talking about it, everyone wants it. Or it could be like when there is a sale at the mall. Everyone rushes to sell or buy, creating a lot of confusion, or volatility, as we say in jargon. On the other hand, a decrease in volume could indicate that investors have low interest, like when the fashion for a certain type of shoe passes. At first, everyone wanted them, but now they're being forgotten. Or it could mean that the market is in a standstill phase, like when you're undecided whether to go out or to stay at home watching Netflix. You're not doing anything in particular, you're just waiting. The key is to look at volume together with price. If the price goes up with high volume, it's like a football team winning with the support of the whole stadium. A strong signal. Everyone believes in that team, everyone is supporting it. But if the price goes up with low volume, it's like the team winning in an empty stadium. Maybe it's not such a reliable trend. Maybe they're only winning because the other team is playing badly. Let's move on to sentiment analysis. This is like talking to the emotional temperature of the market. It's like when you try to understand if your friends are excited or worried about something. You pay attention to how they talk, what they say, their facial expressions. There are different ways to do this analysis. One is to read news and articles and posts on social media. It's like listening to conversations at the bar. It gives you an idea of what people think. If everyone is enthusiastically talking about a certain company, it could be a good sign. But beware. Sometimes, when everyone is talking about something, it might be too late to invest in it. Another way is to look at the internet researches. If everyone is searching for how to buy Tesla stocks, it could be a signal that there is a lot of interest, or maybe too much, in that stock. It's like when everyone starts looking for information about a new diet. It could be a signal that it's about to become fashionable, or it's already at the peak of its popularity. There are also sophisticated tools that use artificial intelligence to analyze large amounts of data and understand the general sentiment. It's like having a super intelligent friend who reads all the newspapers and social media posts in the world and tells you, hey, it seems that people are very optimistic or pessimistic about this stock. Imagine having a personal assistant who spends all day reading what people are saying and then gives you a 30-second summary. Handy, right? Sentiment analysis can be useful for identifying speculative bubbles when everyone is too enthusiastic, or buying opportunities when everyone is too pessimistic. But remember, sometimes the crowd is wrong, so don't rely solely on this. It's like when all your friends tell you that movie certain sucks, but then you watch it and you really like it. Sometimes going against the current can pay off. Finally, let's talk about fundamental analysis. This is like looking under the hood of a car before buying it. You don't just look at how beautiful it is or how many people want it, but you check if the engine works well. It's like doing a complete checkup before going out with someone. You don't just stop at physical appearance, but you try to understand if they're a reliable person, if they have a stable job, if they have interesting hobbies. Fundamental analysis examines the financial health of a company. It looks at things like profits, is it making or losing money, debts, how much does it owe to others, sales growth, is it selling more or less compared to last year. It's like checking a person's personal account bills and salary before lending them money. Would you lend money to someone who spends more than they earn? Probably not, right? This type of analysis also looks at the company's management. Are they good at steering the ship? It's like evaluating a football team coach. They can have the best players in the world, but if the coach doesn't know what they're doing, the team won't go anywhere. It also looks at the sector in which the company operates. Is there room for growth, or is it a saturated market? Imagine opening an ice cream shop. Is better to open in an area where there are no others or on a street where there are already 10 ice cream shops. Unless you have a really special ice cream, probably the first option is better. And finally, it looks at competitive advantages. What makes this company special compared to others? It's like asking yourself, why should people buy my ice cream instead of their neighbors? Maybe I have unique recipes, or I only use organic ingredients, or I have exceptional customer service, something that makes me different and better than others. Fundamental analysis is particularly useful for long-term investments. It's like choosing a life partner. You don't just base it on physical appearance, but you also look at character, values, ambitions. You want someone who is not only beautiful today, but who will age well with you. Now I know I've given you a lot of information to digest. It feels like you've eaten a whole elephant, right? But don't worry, you don't have to become experts in all these techniques overnight. The important thing is to start looking at the market with different eyes. It's like learning a new language. At first it seems impossible, but then, little by little, you start to understand a few words, then a few sentences, and before you know it, you're speaking fluently. Remember, market analysis is a bit like cooking. At first you follow recipes to the letter, but over time you'll develop your own style and you'll know which ingredients work best together. Maybe you'll discover that you like adding a bit of chili where no one would put it, or that you prefer using honey instead of sugar. Similarly, over time you'll develop your style of analysis, mixing different techniques in a way that works for you. My advice? Start with the graphical analysis. Look at the charts and familiarize yourself with candles and trend lines. It's like learning the alphabet of a new language. You can't skip this step if you want to read books. Then, little by little, add the other elements: volume, sentiment, fundamentals. With practice, you will start to see the complete picture. It's like when you look at an impressionist painting. Up close, you see many colored dots, but taking a step back, suddenly you see the complete image. And always remember, no analysis method is perfect. The market can be unpredictable, like spring weather. You think you've understood everything and then boom, something happens that no one expected and everything changes. It's like when you plan a picnic and suddenly it starts raining. You have to be ready to adapt. The important thing is to have a balanced approach. Diversify your investments, don't put all your eggs in one basket, and above all, never invest more than you can afford to lose. Think of investments as a poker game. Never bet more than you're willing to lose. If you lose all your chips, you can't play anymore. If you want to delve deeper into these topics or see how I apply these techniques in my trading, don't forget to check out my memberships and my courses. There you can see how I use this information to make real trading decisions. It's like looking behind the scenes of a movie. You will see not only the final result, but also the work behind it. I know I've bombarded you with a lot of information, but I hope this chart has helped you see market analysis in a different light. Maybe before you thought it was boring and complicated, and now, well, maybe you still think it's complicated, but at least a bit more interesting, right? Remember, the investing journey is long and full of surprises. It's like a roller coaster ride. There will be exciting moments, scary moments, moments when you want to scream, and moments when you laugh heartedly. But with the right tools and the right mindset, it can be an incredibly rewarding experience. Don't expect to become experts overnight. It's a process, a journey. At first, you will make mistakes. It's normal. In fact, I say it's necessary. Mistakes are the best teachers. If you know how to learn from them, it's like learning to ride a bike. You'll fall a few times, but each fall will teach you something and make you stronger and more confident. An important thing to remember is that in trading and investing, patience is fundamental. Don't expect to become millionaires overnight. It's more like planting a tree. It takes time, constant care, and a lot of patience before you see the fruits. But if you're consistent and persistent, the results will come. Another piece of advice I want to give you is to never get too caught up in emotions. The market can be an emotional roller coaster, but you should try to remain as rational as possible. It's like being the captain of a ship in the middle of a storm. You have to stay calm and clear-headed to make the right decisions. And remember, there is no shame in asking for help or advice. Nobody is born learned, and even the most experienced traders started from zero. Ask questions, read and study, and compare yourself with other traders. It's like learning a new language. The more you practice it, the more fluent you'll become. One last thing, never forget to have fun in this process. Yes, investments are a serious thing, but if you're not having at least a little fun, you're probably doing something wrong. It's like playing a video game. There are challenges to overcome and strategies to elaborate, but in the end, it has to be fun. Otherwise, what's the point? If you have questions, don't hesitate to ask them. That's why I'm here. No questions is stupid, so fire away. In fact, often the questions that seem most banal are the ones that open up the most interesting discussions. And remember, invest wisely. Don't blindly follow anyone's advice, not even mine. Always do your own research. Develop your critical thinking. It's like when someone recommends a restaurant to you. It's nice to have recommendations, but in the end, you have to decide for yourself whether you like the food or not. And if you really want to understand how I handle these situations in daily practice, my courses are just what you need. I'll explain exactly how to recognize signals on the charts of stock indices and commodities, how to set up proper money management, and how to protect your capital. You'll get in-depth look at how I apply these strategies in the real world with practical examples and real trades. Think about where you could be in a year if you start learning the right strategies today. I look forward to seeing you in my courses, where you'll learn all these techniques in detail and much more. It's time to move from theory to practice. Remember, the market is out there, full of opportunities. It's up to you to seize them with wisdom, a bit of courage, and why not, with a little help from me. See you on the other side, biting analysis. And remember, if you feel lost in the maze of charts, or if the RCI seems more complicated than a Chinese restaurant menu, you know where to find me. I'm here to turn your help into loss, and your moments of panic into profit opportunities.